Hatem Dhiab, Gerber Kawasaki Wealth Investment Management. Thank you for being with us. I thought it was interesting within your notes. I mean, the next industrial revolution has begun is certainly a big commentary takeaway from what Jensen has said. But I also think it's interesting how you talked about how it's changing from information retrieval to intention seeking and problem solving. It's all getting smarter, isn't it?
Yeah, good to be on, Nicole. You're absolutely right. I'm borrowing the term from Jensen, by the way, Industrial Revolution. And it's true. I think when you listen to him, you understand that all these computer stacks or compute stacks that we've had for many, many years, or the way that we thought about computers is just for us to research information, look at files and so forth. But now it's going to become all intelligent. It's going to all become about solving problems that, themselves without us having to query them. And this is really what the Nvidia story is about right now.
Yeah, so I want to hear more about what you thought about the quarter. I mean, when you see it jump up to 1060 plus, the targets are, 1300 and so on. Where do you think Nvidia could be headed and why?
So I heard three very important things this quarter. One was a master class of how do you deal with very high expectations and how do you alleviate a lot of concern that Wall Street has. One, it was about demand, right? Are we oversupplying chips? Is the demand going to stop at some point? And what we heard in the call is that really what Nvidia is building is a stack of chips that will get better over time, and that demand is just going to increase. Think of, if you use ChatGPT today, maybe an hour a day, think about using 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours a day. Think about all the apps that are querying in these LLMs every day for millions and millions and billions of times. So I think that demand for computers is going to continue to continue, and then Nvidia will be providing that. Two is I heard that. Two is I heard the inference story, which is a lot of people were worried that NVIDIA chips were not as good for inference. And what we heard is that software is actually improving the capabilities for the NVIDIA chips and stacks. So like the new products like Blackwell will provide the ability to do this in a much more efficient way. So this is really important because all the competition that we were worried about, like for example, Amazon and Google and other companies are making their own chips or designing their own chips, is not going to be a big problem for NVIDIA.
Yeah, you had 1, 2, and 3. There was a 3, so let's hear it.
Okay, 3 is we actually got a little bit of some color around the economics of all these hyperscalers or all these data providers around buying and then renting these chips. Now we know that if Amazon buys a bunch of NVIDIA chips, let's say they spend $1, they can earn between $4 and $5 over the next 5 years on renting these stacks. So there is an economic model that works, which means that all these hyperscalers will continue to buy these chips, will continue to invest in these data centers because they can make money doing it.
So it's interesting because on your number one, I heard and read through some of the transcript of what he was saying and how demand, they don't have a demand problem, particularly now as with this smooth Blackwell transition to that Blackwell system, which is more advanced. Now they're seeing more demand because everybody wants the, best, greatest thing. I think that he's actually somewhat concerned about supply at this point.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you have too much demand, right, that's always a concern. I think one of the beauty of NVIDIA over the last couple of years is how well they've executed, right? They're prepared for all this demand ramp, and they were able to be there to be able to design these systems, right? Now you have to think of who makes these chips, like the TSMCs and all the companies that make these chips for them. Can they ramp up? And I think they can.
Right, and as I think of the group, when we think about AI, I mean, everybody loves NVIDIA. You saw all the targets and buy ratings and all that. Are there other names? Because we talked about the competitive landscape, and it doesn't seem like any competitor right now is exactly the same as Nvidia, but are there other names in the group? So would you say Nvidia is a buy, and would you buy some other names in the group?
I think the reality is, if you think about this whole compute stack needing to be upgraded, you should look at all the hyperscalers, you should look at the component providers, and really everyone that is helping build these data centers intelligently. So yeah, there's a lot to be looking at.